Hello and welcome to Outrageous Wellness. My name is Kristine Erickson. I'm a psychologist, a Reiki practitioner. What else do I do? I'm a personal trainer, a wellness coach. And we are here today with, once again, Charlotte and Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Safos, and I am a business person, Reiki master, and spiritual explorer.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I am a resigned elementary educator, a yoga instructor, and an aspiring expert of all things occult.
And we're here today to talk about different ways to meditate. There are many different ways to do that. So we always talk about, and meditate, do this, and meditate. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Because not everybody knows what that means. And I know a lot of people have trouble, like me, sitting still. So I will a lot of times do meditation while I'm walking or while I'm gardening, for example. But then sitting still and meditating is always a challenge for me. So what are your experiences?
So, at the end of every yoga class, we come to Savasana, which is corpse pose. And the idea is that you lay down and you clear your mind and you get really restful. But what a lot of people don't know is that the actual practice, the asana, like the actual postures, were created to help you to sit still. So it's almost like you're doing the movement so that way when you get into that posture to actually clear your mind and get like steady, you're able to do so. And in yoga, we have a lot of experience with what we call pranayama. Pranayama is breath work. And doing pranayama also helps you to kind of get in that meditative state of mind. So there's a few different ways that we can kind of talk about pranayama. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that needing to move prior to sitting still is very normal, and actually Buddhist monks would do that as well. So just throw that out there.
So when I was in middle school, I had a teacher brought in a friend of his. I don't remember the context at all, but this friend of his actually taught us how to, as we're sitting in our chairs, he had us start with our feet and and tighten the muscles in our toes, and then relax them, and then move up to like the ankles, and tighten those muscles and relax them, and then moving all the way up slowly through your body. Until you get to your head. And by the time you get to your head, you're relaxed. And I use that like in bed, like when I get into bed and I can't sleep, it is a form of meditation, right? And I, for years and years, will just lay there and just concentrate on starting at my toes and slowly moving all the way up. And, if I'm stressed out and, today, these days, my life is much less stressful than it used to be, but it used to be that I would have to do that like all the time. Like I couldn't sleep before doing that. So that was a really good tool, and it sounds a lot like what the yoga style meditation.
Yeah, and also that whole like right before bed. One of my favorite things to do. I know we talked about it last week, but the yoga nidras are really cool to do. So if you want to look them up, you can find them on doyogamwithme.com, or you can just look it up on YouTube, a yoga nidra. Jennifer Piercy is one of my favorite people to do yoga nidras with. The whole concept of yoga nidra is for you to find that space between being awake and being asleep. So you kind of get to settle into that really restful spot. And it's a really nice thing to do. It does sometimes incorporate that progressive muscle relaxation. A lot of other times it allows for visualization, having gratitude for the day, but it does walk you through different ways to start to clear your mind before you go to bed, or even just in the middle of the day when you need a rest. I'll do that if I want a nap, but don't want to fall asleep. So that's a nice little something to throw out there if you're looking for yoga nidra to do. Yeah.
And there are also lots of apps that that have meditation music or guided meditations. Um, when the pandemic first happened, I started doing guided meditations over the phone with my shaman, and we did some amazing things. And she put together some meditations just for me, and they would last like an hour. And I would just lay there while she took me through different, meditations and, guided visualizations. And it was really cool. I mean, some of the experiences that I had doing that, which is obviously different from what you would do if you're sitting in your chair and you need to kind of calm down. I mean, it's a very different form of meditation, but that was like this active, engaging my brain meditation that was just wonderful.
And I gotta say too, like sometimes doing the really spiritual ones are way funner. Like there are times where I don't want to meditate at all. Like I'm like not having it today. I can't sit still. But then you find the ones that go with like the archangels or even like sometimes they talk about like aliens and stuff, but it's fun. Like I try to create a space where I'm like, okay, this isn't work. And I think I try to do that with a lot of things is if you feel like it's starting to overwhelm you and it feels like a chore, how can you make it fun? Like, how can you make it exciting to go do? Because when you introduce something a little bit more avant-garde or woo-woo-y to it, it lets you get excited about it, right? I mean, what's the craziest meditation you guys have done? Seriously, like craziest as in like off the beaten path. I know, Poppy, you've done some crazy ones too.
Oh, your dog Poppy. Can we see Poppy real quick?
Little Papa Floppiters, sweetness. Look at her.
Oh.
There she is.
I'm sitting on my meditation pillow, so it seems fitting for this session, this episode. Yeah.
I did.
So Charlotte, can you tell us something? Tell us one.
Yeah, I did a great guided meditation in a class that I took. I can't remember, but it was literally meditating and talking to your future self. And it was fantastic. It was just, what your future self wants to tell you now. And it's great because it works for any age, right? And it was so cool. And I absolutely love it when people walk through guided meditations. There's a great app. It's called the Expand app. And it's through the Monroe Institute. They do amazing guided meditations. So I think the future self one was the most interesting. And then I've just done so many that I agree with you 100%, Kelsey. We talk about meditation and as you said, it can be overwhelming. But the bottom line is it's just quieting your mind and just listening to your breath. And so if you can quiet your mind and you can get into a practice, even if it's just a couple of minutes a day, whether it's when you wake up or before you go to bed. I have this really cool tool. I brought props. It's called a tonal meditation. And you turn them on and they just play like binaural beats that sound like gongs. And it lasts for 3 minutes. And it is so incredibly soothing. You just sit there, you can hold them and feel the vibration in your hands, or you can just put them one to your right and one to your left. And then I put a little bit of sacred frankincense oil on my temples and I rub it on my hands. And just that little ritual that I do, it's as if I've just meditated for 25 minutes if I don't have the time. So I think that's the other thing when we're talking about meditation is to really think about what will work in your life. It's not always realistic to sit down and listen to a 30-minute guided meditation, but there are little things you can do as you go through your day.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Breath work, for example, can be really good. Just taking a few minutes to breathe in, and deep into your stomach. Hold it.
Yeah.
Breathe out.
One of
Breathe in.
my favorite ones right before bed is if you breathe in for 4 counts and then out for 8. If you extend your exhale like that, it will actually help to calm your nervous system down a lot quicker.
Yeah, and I, with the guided meditation stuff, I mean, I did so many crazy ones that just, you if it's a good meditation, it will transport you to somewhere else, like for real. Like you really feel like you're experiencing what you're visualizing. And I have a place that, if they ever say, if the meditation ever calls for you to go somewhere, to go to your safe place where, you know what I mean? Like where your heart is. I'm very much of an earth person. So so mine is like this little like hut in the woods. It's like,
wait, that's so interesting. Wait, so the hut in the woods, is it like, tell me more, because I kind of have one that's similar. Keep going, because I'm an earth sign too.
oh, it's just a little cabin in the woods, thatched roof kind of thing, this big stone chimney.
That's actually really funny, because my safe place is a tree house in the woods next to a little river.
That's so cool. So, and it's so funny we're talking about this. So, I think for people who are listening, sometimes when you listen, if you go through a guided meditation, someone who's guiding will say, imagine yourself in the place that you feel most at home, but it's not where you live, right? And they encourage you to kind of think about what's around you, and that's kind of what we're talking about. Mine doesn't have a house, but mine is all covered with moss, and I have to walk through a forest to get there, and then it's an opening, and it has a beautiful like fresh water pond with a waterfall, and then it has stone seats where I kind of sit down, and I'll like, and they say invite a guide to come in or whatever, and the guide will come and sit. And then mine has certain animals that are always there, and they are domestic and wild. So I always have a lion, but they all get along. It's so cool how how we each have our own place. And every time I go there, it just feels like this incredible gift, and I feel so safe, calm, peaceful, and I feel really complete and whole when I'm there. It's amazing.
It sounds like we're all gonna have to get a house in the woods with a nice vine place with nice stone seats.
Well, we'll have a tree house attached to
the house,
and then we'll have Charlotte's little spring nearby with
like a grotto for Charlotte.
Grotto. Oh, I love
that. I remember I went to this like very Catholic school when I was a kid, and they had a grotto. They had like this, but it was magical to walk down to, because they had a little waterfall and this like over I guess it might have been a bridge, but then they had vines hanging down from it in the water. And that's what I think of when I think of what your safe place, Charlotte. So like that's really cool.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I have to create that.
That's really cute.
Maybe put a spa in there and then just like only live there all the time.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So the other thing I was thinking about was, when I go and get acupuncture, and I always like to get it in my back. I like to lay on my stomach, because then, as I'm laying there with the needles in me, I can just kind of go into that meditative space in a way that I don't find myself going into in any other context. So,
Well, you're kind of at that point, you're kind of forced, right? Because you can't go anywhere. So it's like a forced meditative, but it's great. I think that's a great example. If people really have a hard time doing it or finding, something that will help them to get to that place, what a fantastic idea, because you lay with your needles for at least like 25 minutes, right?
yes, yep. And I see and that's when I see things. You know how they talk about seeing symbols and things like that when you're meditating, like that's when you're really in that deep meditative state. And that's when I start seeing that, is when I get acupuncture.
That's interesting that you say that, only because pretty recently, like if I'm getting my hair done or if I'm getting a massage, I like make it a point to not like pull my phone out and try and be on it. Like I make an active effort to try and maybe not fully like close.
You don't pull your phone out when you get a massage, do you?
Well, my phone, I'm not when I get my hair done. Sorry, that's more when I pull my phone out.
I'm like trying to see that, right?
Like I'm here. Or like when I'm not trying to make a conversation with the masseuse, very specifically. Like I know that I don't know if that's rude or not, but I do try to just settle into a space and I try to stay there for as long as I can. Because I feel like it builds up that ability to sit on your breath. It helps you to be able to sit longer in your meditation. I feel like you do get into that meditative state too, if you have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to kind of throw out the whole science thing, meditation is really, really good for you. And that's the other thing. If people think, oh, well, I just don't have the time, or, I have other priorities. Just remember that it is a huge part of self-care. And you can go to the Mayo Clinic, for example, just Google meditation in the Mayo Clinic, and they have a great a site that tells you about meditation, and it tells you about the benefits from a health perspective. And the science is definitely still evolving, but I think there's enough research that really shows, especially in terms of stress reduction, it's very, very helpful.
I mean, that's definitely it. Is I think I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was having kind of a panicked moment, and she goes, "Have you been meditating?" I was like, "Well, I stopped teaching, so I thought I had to stop doing that too." And she laughed at me. I was like, "No, we don't need to stop because things stop being stressful. Meditation is supposed to be beneficial for a lot of different things." And I'm gonna have to check out that Expand app because that's really cool. Right now, I use just Headspace, and I really like that they give you almost like a task list, like a to do throughout the day. And when you first wake up, you take your like 5 deep breaths, and then you listen to like their message for the day, and then you do like a 3 to 10 minute meditation after that. And then in the middle of your day, it'll give you like something to do during the workday, and then it'll give you something to do once you get home. So I think that for me personally, because I'm a little like I like my to-do list, I think it's really helpful.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that they had that. I like that idea too. Just thinking about it, again, like, work day, you're near your phone, you get a little, ping to do it. I really like that. I know, yeah, I really like that idea. I'll check it out.
You should. Honestly, it's been really nice for me to just stop midday. And even it's 3 minutes, I think, but it helps to just get me in that space where I can kind of reset. Everybody in my office thinks I'm insane though, because I do legs up the wall pose for like 5 minutes midday, and they'll walk past my desk and they'll be like, "Oh my God, her legs are on her chair. Like, is she okay?"
That is funny.
Calm down. So if you don't know how to do legs up the wall pose, give it a shot. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Google it. It's like, yeah, I would definitely get a visual. But the way that I do it is I back myself up against the wall sideways, like laying down sideways, and then I let my legs come all the way up, and then I lay down. And it's very nice.
Very cool.
I'm trying to picture how you do that in my head.
Yeah,
the
I
workspace
totally
is
don't get it
best.
at all.
I'm like, I'm like, I know we have video now. I'm like, would it be too much? Hey guys, here's a tutorial for how you do it as Poppy's barking at me.
Oh, you know what? That's actually fun to do after, right? Yes, you should post that
And you know what? I will
on our
definitely
YouTube channel.
Yeah, on our YouTube channel. Okay. I know, baby. She keeps talking to me. I'm like, I'm aware.
So, and one of the things that brings up is that you can meditate sitting, you can meditate laying down, you can meditate walking, like at a labyrinth. So there's a labyrinth at a church near where I live, outside, and you can just slowly walk along the pathway to the center and then back out again. So that would be a walking meditation. Candle. So if you want to sit and meditate quietly, you can take a candle. Like I have this one right here. This is a candle for somebody, and I'm sure that it would be fine if I just use this for just to as an example. So you light the candle in a safe space, right? And you focus on the candle. I'm holding it up so you can see it, but you'd set it down, you'd focus on it for a period of time. And then if you close your eyes, you see the after image of the candle flame in your mind and focus on that after image. And then as your mind, remains quiet, then you'll start seeing images. So that is a very that takes a lot of discipline to do a meditation like that, I think. But that's a really good one, a good tool. I like candles. Candles are good tools.
Have you heard of Shaman Durek?
Of what?
Of Shaman Durek. He's a big guy that likes to do he's big into the candle meditation. That was the way I was trying to say that. And I ended up saying he's a big guy. I'm like, nope, that's not what I meant. I meant that he loves candle meditation.
Okay. Yeah. Candle meditations are nice. What else? I'm trying to think of what else, what other things we can share about meditation.
Well, I think that people say prayer is a great way to meditate, if that resonates with you. And then there are also mantra meditations. So if you are serious about building your meditation practice, I hear that the mantra meditations are really amazing in terms of a life practice. So they have transcendental meditation. And then the Chopra Institute has a mantra meditation. It's called primordial sound meditation. And your mantra that you say is actually the sound of the universe that was happening when you were born. So when you take primordial sound meditation through Chopra, you get it's 3 syllables, and that's your mantra. I loved it. I took it. I don't do it regularly, which is not great. I think if I did it regularly, I think it would be really life-changing. For me, though, it feels very overwhelming to do. They recommend you do an hour a day. And it's just, and at the same time, I just said that it was important to do it. I totally agree with that. I'm just being completely vulnerable and honest about my wants and my reality.
This is, yeah. And
that's why I have these.
Yeah, and that's what we all need to do, is we all need to find that sweet spot where we get something out of it and we're doing it, but life comes at us as well. So it would be wonderful if I could do an hour of meditation in the morning and an hour of meditation in the evening. And but I don't see that happening. It might happen at some point in the future, but that's something you need to build up to, I think.
Absolutely. I do. I mean, during the class, I certainly did it. And it is truly amazing how you feel. It really does change. It's just a state of calm and peacefulness, I think. And again, just trying to find that in different ways throughout your day is the importance of meditation, right? Clearing our minds and allowing us to just be in the present moment is so important.
It's
And I think
lovely.
it's also important just to not overcomplicate. I think we have a big desire to want to meditate for over an hour. And I think as long as we get 3 minutes in and put those 3 minutes in wherever we can, I think that's the most important thing.
Agreed.
Very true. So, any last thoughts?
Try pranayama.
When you were holding up the candle and you were talking about what to do, I was getting really relaxed. So I am definitely going to try the candle meditation.
The candle meditation is great. It's really quite very effective. All right. Well, thank you guys for doing this. And Kelsey's going to do the
I'm gonna take a video. I'm gonna do it.
new video and upload it to the
You know what? Maybe
YouTube channel.
I'll do like a quick, almost TikTok-y kind of video that just shows you some postures you can try and get into to help you calm down at the end of the day.
It sounds good. So and we have Outrageous Wellness. We have the YouTube channel now. So last week's podcast is on there. I'll put today's up on it. Let's see, next weekend we're going to the Maryland Renaissance Festival. So maybe we'll do something from there. That would be super. That would be really, really fun, I think.
Really cool.
That would be great.
I'm dressing up.
Oh, your outfit. I am more than elated to see that.
Yeah, you'll see it. You'll see it. I don't have the bodice yet. I ordered the bodice from an Etsy shop, and it's supposed to get here sometime this week. So she's making it for me.
I'm looking forward to next week.
We're gonna post a picture of it on our Instagram.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah, we are. 'Cause I'm so excited.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you both for being here. Thank you all for listening. And we'll see you next week from the Maryland Renaissance Festival. This is Outrageous Wellness, and have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.